Today's sales leader faces increasing pressure and seemingly impossible quotas. And most are told the answer is more calls, more pipeline, more grind. With over 20 years in the trenches of sales leadership, I know there's a better way. Welcome to the Authentic Sales Manager podcast, brought to you by From the Heart Business Network. I'm your host, Harry Spaight. I believe in celebrating wins, visualizing success, and making sales and sales leadership honorable. Let's go. Oh, this is going to be an exciting conversation today. With me is Armen Avanessian from Selling Senses. He's the author of this book. He's a sales leader. And we're going to talk a little bit about how the six senses impact not only our sales, but also our leadership. So, Armen, what is the good word today?
Hey, Harry, good morning, and listeners and watchers, good morning to you. The good word is we are alive and well and excited to share some content that I believe will add great value to the listeners and viewers today. Thanks for having me on, Harry.
Yeah, this is going to be great. So, Armen, would like to start off each episode with this question. I'm curious as to what your response is. What does an authentic sales manager mean to you, sir?
I think that's a fantastic, right, and deep question. So for me, an authentic sales leader is one that is creating experiences for the direct reports that shapes how they think, how they feel, how they trust, how they perform. And we achieve that by ensuring that we're engaging all of the senses of these individuals.
Yeah, so this is definitely piqued my interest here, Armen, because I think of this frequently in sales, right? Where we're creating experiences for sales and for the client and the customer, but rarely do I hear about helping our direct reports have an experience with us or create experiences with our direct reports. So, where did this all stem from for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about what we're going to be speaking on today, traditional leadership has taught us to focus on strategies, processes, KPIs, driving behavioral accountability. And so what really I'm looking to hone in on today is what I call sensory leadership and why people will follow you based on how you make them. And so the genesis of sensory leadership is that the experience people have every time with you as they interact with you as the leader, it shouldn't be an interaction that they remember you because of some policy or procedure, but it should, and not saying those are not important, but it's just as much important for them to remember the experience of that interaction that they have with you every time. And those are the foundations to me that end up building the key components of trust that then end up getting the buyership into what you're looking to achieve as a leader.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you're thinking about you're not connecting with people over a policy, right? You're connecting over that feeling that you have for each other. So I'm curious as to, when you talk about these senses, can you go into a little bit deeper here as to how this actually works in real life as far as this experience is concerned and tying it in to the census? That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's think about for a moment how we have been created, right? So just as even human beings, we have two eyes intentionally, we have two ears, right? We got a pair of lips, right? So two set of hands. So we were built into twos. And so we were intentionally built to be what I call experiential beings. And so when we tend to focus on one dimensional form of leadership, then we really don't maximize our impact. And we tend to be viewed as a manager instead of a true leader that's coming in with a mission and a purpose. And so when we talk about the senses, and what I want to hone in on is the six leadership senses and what we truly are responsible as leaders as it relates to driving those experiences that we talked about. So let's talk about the first one. Leaders help people see. And so some of these things that I'm going to talk about today, it's both figurative and literal. And so when we talk about our direct reports, they truly are craving a vision, a mission, a purpose, a why. And I think sometimes we get too honed in on focusing on that next PowerPoint or presentation or guidelines that's going to actually drive what we think the productivity is that we're looking for. So
Mm.
for me, as a leader that helps people see, it's about helping them see the possibility, the opportunity, the purpose, their own future. And when we talk about this, it's I'm talking the big picture, right? And how their daily work impacts the greater good of not just the world we operate in, but the individual lives of the people that they're interacting on a daily basis.
Mm.
And so I challenge you on this topic to ask, can your team see tomorrow because of your leadership? And so that's the first one is great leaders help people see the vision. And a lot of what I just spoke about is figurative, right? Because it's verbal. But when I talk about see, I create experiences for my team every time that I've taken on a team. So I will again develop the mission, the purpose. I'll come up with a theme for the year. That I'll have a logo for the
Mm.
team colors. I've had a song for the team. So it's about going much deeper than just verbalization. It's actually also giving them those visual cues of what that looks like from a vision and mission purpose perspective. Number
Uh,
two,
okay,
no,
could I just stop here for a
yeah,
quick question?
of
So
course.
you actually do you create the song or do you find like a theme song? I love this because it's you're helping
Yeah.
me. I mean, because I love music, but yeah, so it's just like it's bringing it to more to life. I'm just sensing this now when you're talking about seeing. Can your team see tomorrow based on how you're leading? And then what you're saying here is like bringing in music. It's like, wow, this is. It's like you're doing a sales kickoff with your
All the
team
time.
and right bringing in the senses. Is there food involved? Uh, so I gotta ask, is the music something that you're finding like a theme song? Just so that I'm visualizing all of this as we're bonding here.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about one year I had a theme, it was called Level Up. And so it's not like flavor of the month. So level up is the theme for the year. And everything that I do each and every day is about level up, whether it's the daily quote. But then, you just go to YouTube and type in the word level up and what songs pop up that would have that match for level up. And then we choose that theme song for the year.
How
Um, and
fun!
I and I do it with buy-in. And so what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, as a leader, I don't just show up and say, "This is the team colors. This is the mission. This is the vision." I build it together with the team so they are all bought in and they help develop all of it together. And so you get greater buyership with that process.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, so what's next? I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah,
No, no, stop me
definitely.
anytime. This
Yeah,
is a
and I
conversation.
yeah, so that whole thing about buying in and getting your team to kind of help create it, right? Which is now they own it more than versus us leading from whatever the corner office and says, here, this is what we're going to be doing this year. Here's the theme of the year. Here's the theme song for the year. I did this all by myself because I'm so amazing. You guys just have to buy in, right? Which doesn't work. So I love this whole approach. Great stuff. So, yeah. So, what's next?
So, by the way, I call those soapbox leaders, the ones that just stand and call
Okay.
it out.
All right, great. So don't be a soapbox leader.
Don't be a soapbox leader, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, number two. So, leaders hear more than words, right? So, we're not talking about listening. So, most managers are trained to listen for information, but great leaders that are focused on sensory engagement are listening for emotion, hesitation, confidence, fear, motivation. So you're listening for tone, body language. And so often what you realize is people may not proactively vocalize or tell you how they're feeling, they reveal it through their behavior. And sometimes these behaviors may be deeper than we actually appreciate as leaders. And what I mean is it could be someone passed away in their family that's causing them to, not perform to their optimum level. So as a leader, you have to be very sensitive. And when I say listen, we're talking about active listening. And by the way, I'm guilty of this, audience, still today. It's one of my greatest challenges. Active listening, right? So as a leader, we're trained to be problem solvers and solutionists. And so when someone's sitting there speaking with you, instead of going and actively listening to the hesitation or the confidence, motivation, we're trying to already problem solve and give them the answer and the direction to help them feel better so they can perform better. And so the greatest challenge we have as leaders, I think, is not just listening, that's just too broad, is are you really present in a moment? Are you truly actively listening? And are you affirming to them that they have been heard? Right. So I challenge the listeners, the leaders today, to ask yourselves, when your team leaves a conversation with you, do they actually feel heard, or just managed, or is it just another management moment with you? Right. So I think the biggest opportunity for all of us as it relates to leadership is being present, actively listening, and giving your full undivided attention to the person that's in front of you, not your cell phone, not the email coming in. Eyes
Mm.
forward, ears open, heart open.
Yeah, so good. It's like, I mean, you mentioned you're guilty. I'm guilty. Someone's talking to you. I'm looking at my emails and I'm saying things like this. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm just catching up on this. I just got to answer this,
Yeah.
right? So clearly, I'm not listening. So we're going to take a quick pause here and hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll dive deeper into the rest of these senses. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What if every rep on your team got a personalized coaching audio message from Larry Levine every morning based on their individual strengths and growth areas?
That's what we're excited to tell you about, daily audio coaching powered by Sales Index. Each rep gets a short, practical coaching session from me they can listen to on their way to work or in between calls.
It's not generic training, it's personalized micro coaching that helps your reps make small gains every day that add up to big results.
Big things happen when your reps take effective action every day.
Learn more about how it works and get started at salesindex.ai.
And we're back to the Authentic Sales Manager podcast with Armen Avanessian joining us. And we're talking about the senses and how they tie into creating experience for our reports as leaders. So, Armen, we're just finishing up here what it means to be an active listener. So, I've got to ask, what's next here in this process of bringing in all of the senses?
All right. Let's touch on sense number three. So point number three is leaders create memories, and you do that in multiple ways. And so we're going to touch on smell here, or scent. Um, and so again, figurative, literal, right? So it's up to us as leaders to create lasting memories by connecting deeper with our teams. And so what I mean by that is, too often as leaders, we are surface level and we keep things business, and we should, rightfully so. But if you really want to get to the heart and mind of a person, we need to get a little bit deeper in getting to know these people, right? So their passions, their why, their hobbies, learn about their family, right? So start digging in deeper. And so as a leader, I'll give you an example. Um, what I do with every new hire is, in their first week of the job, I take them out to eat. So you mentioned food earlier. So I definitely take them out to eat. And because I'm Armenian, I always, always do Middle Eastern food for the first time, just to kind of show them the cultural perspective from Armen. And so often what I'll get is, wow, man, I've never had kebab or Middle Eastern food. This is really good. And so now I'm forever embedded, not just from a job perspective, but in their minds, the first time that they ever had Middle Eastern kebab was with Armen, the sales leader at whatever the employment place may be. And so in that time that you're spending with them breaking bread, you're having deeper conversations. You're going beyond work, and you're building a bigger, deeper bridge with them, so that that trust, and that foundational trust, I should say, is built sooner than later. So think about this. Every workplace has emotional memories, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And it's our job to drive those positive memories. And so great leaders intentionally create positive ones. So for the listeners today, I challenge you and ask yourself, what memories are your employees creating every Monday morning? Forget about every day. Just think about Monday morning. Sunday night, are they excited to show up to work at your team meeting and have another energy session and learning session? Or are they dreading getting out of bed and showing up for Monday because they have another, management expectations and targets they got to hit? And all those, again, are relevant and important. But to drive those, the idea here is we got to dig deeper. So I'll pause there on point number.
Yeah, that's great. Thinking here is that the last thing you said is jumping right out at me. How is your team feeling on Sunday night?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I've been there too, by the way, right? So where you're dreading to show up on Sunday because you don't know necessarily what to expect. Even though you may have the best of intentions, I believe everyone wakes up wanting to do good, wanting to show up to drive the best performance or results they can. It's up to us as leaders, though, to bring that about from them daily. And that's very much has to tie into the memories that we're creating. And as we touched on the example here, food is just one thing. And that
Yeah.
happens regularly today in my workplace. So we're often because, we have work food that's catered to our workplace. Every day people are sitting around the table making connections, learning about projects and talking through things and talking about family. And so I think food ultimately at the end of the day, I love food by the way, is the
Me too.
greatest connector, I think in
Yes.
in the workplace, right?
I want to
So
go work
if
where
you're
you are,
wondering what
man. That's so, I'm gonna have a wide range of variety here. I'm loving this. So yeah, I totally love, this opportunity of bonding, connecting with people over breaking bread. I'm a huge fan of this. So continue, sir.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about the fourth sense, right? We're talking about feel. And feel can be like, again, figuratively or literally touching or feel inside. So I think a lot of new leaders make this mistake, including me, especially when you're promoting from a sales position to a leadership position. Leadership isn't about your title. And I think many take a long time to grasp and we try to leverage title to drive productivity or results. But leadership is more so about emotional experiences. So think about this for a minute. Your direct reports every day that they're showing up, whether you want to acknowledge this or not, they're asking themselves, do I feel safe? Do I feel valued? Do I belong? Do I
Mm,
try? Do I
yeah.
even trust this person? Right. So, listeners, when your team walks away from you, do they feel inspired? Do they feel encouraged? Do they feel motivated? Or are they simply feeling instructed or managed? And so, for us as leaders, every day is an opportunity for us to create emotional experiences. And it's not necessarily, and again, I need to clarify this. It doesn't have to be, I showed up and I checked off this sense, this sense, this sense,
Mm,
this sense, but it's more so about, did I leverage this opportunity that I had with my direct report to maximize my value by driving an emotional experience while I delivered the message that needed to be delivered? And how was that received? And ensure that while you're having this um, engagement, that your team has a voice in the process. I call it the voice of the team, the voice of the associate.
yeah.
Um, they need to be actively involved and they need to feel that they have a voice and they need to make sure that they have. Typically, what I do as a leader is I tend to have sessions where I want to hear the voice of my team. And I will purposely drive one impactful change that came from the voice of the team so that they know that they've been heard and the leader has taken action on that voice. And obviously, it has to be positive and constructive in that process. So I'll pause there.
Wh- what's a good example of that? I view it as, are people able to say what's on their mind without feeling like they're going to be judged, that they said the wrong thing?
They
Yeah.
need to feel comfortable to share ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, and I often, you have to as a leader verbalize this. I welcome ideas. I
Yeah.
want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? It can be done in a very strategic manner, but to address your question, absolutely what you described is what is my description of feeling safe. Do they feel comfortable enough to open up in front of you and then
Yep.
open up in front of the team?
Beautiful. Super helpful, so that you're looking at your team and you say any questions, or how do we feel about this? And everyone says it's great. Like, going back to the body language, you can just assume people really mean what they're saying, or you can look at the body language and say, you're great right now. I'm not really buying you. So maybe we need to dig a little deeper into that. But I'll let you take where our next sensory sense comes in here.
Sounds good. We're at number five. So leaders create a taste that lasts, right? So when we think about taste here, we're talking about people taste culture, right? And you know what I'm talking about, right? It could be a sour culture, it could be not a pleasant one, right?
Mhm.
Spicy culture. So every organization, from my perspective, has a flavor. And again, so we're
Okay.
talking here figuratively, right? So some of the culture taste leaves people energized. Others can leave people exhausted, right? So culture is often experienced, I say, before it is actually described. I think one of the most common job interview questions we ask or we get asked as a leader is, tell me about the company culture, right? What can you tell me about the company culture, right? And so we as leaders need to ensure, one, that we're creating a culture that enforces trust, that enforces recognition for productivity, uh, essentially creating an environment that creates the positive results that we're looking for. So, for the leaders that are listening or watching today, the question is, what flavor does your leadership behind? Is it a flavor of confidence? Is it a flavor of security? Or is it a flavor of uncertainty, a flavor of doubt? Right. So, at the end, as a leader, every day, again, focusing on creating moments and experiences that leave a cultural taste behind that people actually want to be a part of.
Nice. Yeah. This is a great question. It's a great topic, and you can't bluff the answer, right? You can say, look, our culture is amazing. We're all super friendly. We're positive. We're outgoing, friendly. We reward each other, recognize each other. And then, the poor person goes in the office and it's like, no one comes up
Totally
to
the
greet
opposite.
them. Right. It's like, no one even said hello to me. Right. So it's like, you're setting the bar, right? You're setting the expectations. So when the person comes on board, they better see what you described, or otherwise they'll be out the door too, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to take another pause here and hear a word from our sponsor. We'll get right back into finishing up this senses and something about a leadership experience loop we'll be discussing as well. So stay tuned.
Sales leaders, hiring salespeople by resume and gut feel is expensive. The interview tells you how they talk. Sales Index Hire shows you how they sell.
With Sales Index Hire, you get data-backed sales candidate screening built from the same assessment science used with millions of salespeople. See who is recommended, who's worthy of consideration, and which candidates are not recommended before you invest hours interviewing.
So stop guessing and start building a stronger sales team.
Learn more at salesindex.ai.
And we're back with the Authentic Sales Manager podcast with Armen Avanessian joining us. I'm having a blast. I'm tasting different foods. I'm learning all about the sounds, the smells of being a good leader. It's totally changed my feeling about this with a little bit of humor. But Armen, this has been so fun so far. So we've got one sense left, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this leadership experience loop. So let's finish up with the sense that you're talking about here.
Sounds good. This is a bonus sense, right?
Okay.
So I call it the sixth sense.
All right.
And it focuses on inner wisdom. And so when we think about leadership, often we may get the IQ piece, right? We may get the EQ piece, emotional intelligence piece. But then there's also, for me, a spiritual intelligence component to this. And so defining a more deeper why. And even for us as a leader, why are you a leader? Why are you leading a team? And what is the ultimate goal? And why are you waking up each and every day to lead that team? And so for me, I have actually a leadership formula, and it's called the sensory alignment pyramid. And for me to be the most effective, impactful leader, all three of those components need to be involved and engaged in that experience that we've been talking about throughout this discussion. So at the bottom corners, IQ and EQ, and at the top, SQ. So for me as a leader, I work on me first every single day before I try to help anybody else, right? Again, as an imperfect human as I may be, I wake up each and every day to feed my spirit, whether it's through the word of God or a devotional prayer. I want to make sure that I'm aligned as a human being first before I take on the task and responsibility of driving alignment for those that I'm responsible for on a daily basis. So for me, IQ, EQ is the starting point, but to truly elevate your leadership, there has to be some form of spiritual intuition and spiritual intelligence, all bundled under inner wisdom in the book. But for me, great leaders are always developing awareness, discernment, intuition, presence, purpose. And this is the whole idea of Selling Sense is my new book, right? So it's a much bigger idea than sales, right? So Selling Senses began as a book about sales, but over time I realized something much bigger, right? So whether you're leading a team, a company, a family, coaching a team, serving customers, the principles are the same. Human beings don't respond only to information. They respond to experiences. And as leaders, it's our job to understand that and to influence performance and decisions through the senses and service. And so with that, I would love to segue once we have some questions here into something I would love to share with the audience today that I have not yet publicly spoken about.
Wow.
Yes. So
Yeah, I'm
on your
honored.
show.
We're
on
honored.
your show, man. On your show, Harry.
The listener is honored. I've got to just tackle this IQ, EQ, and SQ. All right. So absolutely love how you're starting out the day. So valuable. But the one thing that you touched on was the SQ, and I'm not familiar with that, I don't think. So can you just share what that was?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know emotional intelligence, right? Which is putting yourself in the shoes of the other person so that you can gain perspective, right? Feeling what they feel. So SQ stands for spiritual intelligence. And so are you daily working on feeding your spirit? Right? I believe we are all spiritual beings, right? So to be the most authentic leader, to be the most effective and impactful leader, you have to truly inside of you answer that question, why? And for me, that's all bundled under spiritual intelligence because my why is the greater power above, right? My Lord and Savior, right? So nice. I want to ensure that I am a reflection of that, even as imperfect as a human as I may be, is I have a daily responsibility to feed that spirit and that mind and that heart. So my direct reports, the people I'm interacting with on a daily basis, are getting the best version of myself each and every day.
Outstanding. Okay, so let's talk about this. Thank you for sharing that. Now I understand it a little bit better. So what about this leadership experience loop that you're sharing?
As we close out, yeah, absolutely. So as we close out our discussion today, I wanted to present a new thought, right? Something that I've been thinking about, formulating, still working on, if I'm being fully transparent. Today, I'm just going to give you the questions, and later on, look for the expanded content. But it's called the leadership experience loop. And every interaction that you have with your direct reports or teammates you may be collaborating with across the organization or the company, it creates 6 questions for those that are working with you. Number 1, can I see the vision? Right? Is it clear? Can I see the vision? That's number 1. Number 2, can I hear the authenticity? Or are you just scripted and don't come across as you're being real and just managing the process? Can I hear the authenticity? And that's why the SQ piece we just touched on is so important. Number 3, can I remember this moment? Can I remember this moment? So after I'm done with my leader and I walk away, can I remember it? Number 1, and then what am I going to be remembering from that moment? Number 4, can I feel trust? Can I feel trust? Right? Can I open up, as we talked about? Can I be vulnerable? Can I share the truth? Number 5, can I experience the culture? We talked about you can read it, you can speak about it, but can your people experience and live that culture daily? And last but not least, can I believe in the leader? Can I look at you in the eye and can I believe you as my leader? And if they answer yes to these questions, guess what? People will follow you. And I'll end it there, Harry.
Oh my goodness, Armen. So good. So vision, being authentic, being the real deal is the way I love to describe authenticity. Can I remember this moment? Can I feel trust? Right? That's just a little bit different than am I trusting, right? Can I feel it? Experience the culture, and can I believe in the leader? Man, those are great thoughts here to end this. What would you say as far as someone? I mean, I've been in sales leadership, Armen, for a long time. This I wish I knew a long time ago, right? I mean, just the experiences, but we're all learning, got to have grace for ourselves, right? Just understand that life is a journey. What would you say, or off that's hearing this, and what do you want them to walk away with?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say start one place, right? So I think sometimes as leaders, we try to do too much too fast. And so I focus on what I call the threes, right? Never have more than three priorities, more than three tasks. So start with one, right? Today we touched on the five. My recommendation advice to new leaders is going to be the active listening, right? Are you really hearing, especially for new leaders, what your team is saying, right? So especially more challenging as a salesperson going into a leadership role versus a leader going into another leader role, right? But either way, in both scenarios, if it's a new role as a leader or brand new from sales to leadership, focus on the active listening piece, because that slowly will train you to start to look deeper in the tone, body language, expressions, all of those things that will give you cues and clues on if there may be something deeper going on with this person that you're working with, and to truly work to root cause what the challenge may be, to create the experience that both of you may be looking for. So to bundle up for new leaders, focus on one sense. Don't try to achieve all of them in one sitting, right? Work on being great at one and then start to incorporate the other ones. I always recommend active listening because that's the one I struggle with the most. But that would be my guidance to the listeners today in the audience.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I totally agree with you. Sales and leadership is not about what you say, right? It's how you make people feel. They need to feel like they're heard. Yeah, totally agree with how you just ended that. Armen, where can people find more of your brilliance, sir? This has been awesome.
I appreciate the opportunity. Listeners, watchers, thank you so much. You can learn more about sellingsenses.com. You can learn more about the book at sellingsenses.com, or you can grab a copy at where your favorite shopping place may be, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And again, thank you for listening. Appreciate everyone's time. And Harry, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, we'll continue to learn, and thank you so much for sharing this. This has been very insightful. So all the best to you, Armen. It's been great. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining us on the Authentic Sales Manager podcast, brought to you by From the Heart Business Network. If today's conversation resonated, rate, review, and share it with a sales leader who needs to hear this. Keep celebrating wins and making sales leadership honorable. See you next time.